Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy and Ascension forecast for Sunday, July 17th to Saturday, July 23rd. So last week, how about that full moon in Capricorn? So I know coming into last week, I said that, we were in for a relatively quiet week, being that there was only really the full moon in Capricorn for us to navigate through. But I'd say that was about enough. Pure exhaustion, high irritation, many Ascension symptoms, the flu-like symptoms, the achiness, all of that came back. Family drama hit a brand new high peak. Of course, we have had our boundaries tested. We are experimenting with speaking our truth, using our voice, and that full moon in Capricorn should have illuminated within our thoughts, within our emotions, within our psyche and our physical circumstances, where the blockages are. What is preventing us from moving forward? What is holding us back from actually manifesting the elements in our lives that we've been working so hard to actually bring into reality? The full moon in Capricorn was definitely very heavily weighted, again, with Saturn being its ruler, the Lord of Karma himself ruling over restrictions and roles and responsibilities. Did we really expect anything less? Now, some of us got a little bit of a break after that moon moved into the Aquarian energy, freeing us from some of that weight, some of that responsibility, some of that pure negative Nancy narrative. However, because of the energy blast coming in with this full moon in Capricorn, there's still a huge chunk of us trying to shake some of the Ascension symptoms that definitely came in with that energy blast. So this week, we got a lot going on. Now, when we have a lot going on, it means that things pick up. Now, if you remember last week, I said right after the full moon in Capricorn, we were essentially going to experience the universe hit that fast forward button, and we were going to start seeing some accelerated timelines, some accelerated action here. I was not lying. This week, we have Venus, the goddess of love and beauty and worth and pleasure and happiness and joy, moving out of that mental battlefield of Gemini, where she had to debate between different choices, different options, different paths, different directions, let's say, especially with her values, her worth, her relationship status, with her job, with her finances, with her resources. Now she's moving into Cancer. Yep, that's right. We are still in Cancer season. We have Mercury, our mental plane, in Cancer, and now we're going to have Venus, our heart space, join them in Cancerian energy. This is definitely going to bring up all the feels. If you thought that Cancer season and Mercury being in Cancer wasn't nostalgic enough, then you should be in for quite a ride with Venus moving into Cancer. Very hypersensitive, very, I'm going to say semi-insecure, very passive-aggressive when it comes for putting herself first. We've gone through a very serious exploration of our self-worth, our self-confidence, our self-esteem. Now is not the time to backtrack. However, Venus moving into Cancer is going to highlight for us where it is that we need to nurture ourselves, where it is we need to implement those boundaries. We should have had those boundaries tested. And let me just give you full picture here. Whatever options, decisions, choices, path, direction that we were debating between while she was in Gemini, we are going to feel the right way to go. And that may mean that we have a little bit of pain, a little bit of discomfort, a little bit of heartbreak in order for us to veer one way over the other. So Venus moves into Cancer on the 17th. Then we have Mercury already in Cancer moving into Leo on the 19th. So this is a fire energy. So when we have the mental plane on fire in the heart and soul of the zodiac of Leo, think of the lion. The lion wants to roar, wants to be heard. All right. We have a lot of stories to tell. We have a lot of truth to tell. We have a lot of creativity to unlock. We have new perspectives to share. This is going to be big. When we think of Leo, we think of big, big heart, big pride, big quote unquote ego. But Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, who uses our information and communication and form of expression to get our inner realm to the outer realm, you best believe that if you were an artist, if you were a songwriter, if you are just a writer, we are going to be able to articulate heartfelt, creative expressions way more now than usual. We do have to think very big in Leo, which is going to help us out because many of us have been actively searching for clarity, that big picture vision, something that inspires us, something that motivates us, that really gets our passion flowing once again. Mercury moving into Leo will likely be doing that for many of us. Now, on the 19th, we also have Chiron, the wounded healer, going retrograde. So Chiron's been in Aries energy for quite some time now, and definitely doing a number on our ego identity. This is for, I'm going to say, on the grander stage where the masculine energy has been attacked. The toxic masculinity, I should say. Now, we really do have to redefine what masculine energy is. Do not think of just a man, just a male. We all have feminine and masculine energies within us. If you take a good look around, most of the females walking the face of the planet right now have more masculine energy going on in them than some of the males do. Reason being, we've been put in a situation where we had to be in survival mode, where we had to fend for ourselves, where we had to protect ourselves. This is just, in the grand scheme of things, this is just a lesson, a role reversal lesson of the female body, the female persona embodying the masculine energy, and of course, the male energy, the male body embodying the feminine energy. We have to explore this. We have to exchange polar opposites, if you will, in order to find our way back. But Chiron, for the last couple of years, being in Aries energy, has definitely stripped us down ego-wise. Every single time we've lost something, lost someone, lost a job, lost a house, lost a car, that has highlighted where it is that the pain and the trauma and the suffering has become a source of identity. Those attachments have become a source of identity. And of course, when you strip something like that away, we don't know who it is that we are anymore. Now, Chiron, being the wounded healer, yes, highlights the wounds, but also has the wisdom inside of each and every single one of us to heal said wounds. When we go retrograde, this is where we take a good look at our pain, at our trauma, at our suffering, and we do something to heal it. So self-care is going to be at the top of the list. We're still in Cancer season with all of these placements touching in this Cancer energy. Yes, Mercury is just leaving this Cancer energy, but we really need that pride of the lion to help us, quote unquote, man up to the wounds that we've been carrying around, how attached and intertwined we've allowed it to become in our identity, and kind of strip some of these aspects away in order for us to be humbled back to our rawest nature, our purest form, so to speak. So we will, see a lot of people seeking out counseling, seeking out therapy, taking care of the physical body, going for, body work, massage, physio, osteo, energy healing. There's a lot of inner childhood trauma coming up, especially in Cancer season, where the family and generational trauma has been triggered and activated. Moving into Leo season, which we are going to do here on the 22nd, this is the inner child. And yes, the positive, playful, creative, curious, fun aspects of the child, but we all have a little bit of an inner child that had been rejected and abandoned and set to the side. And those aspects are definitely going to be activated as Chiron goes retrograde as well. But before the sun moves into Leo on the 22nd, we have our last quarter moon at 27 degrees in Aries energy on the 20th. So, jam-packed week. What we know to be true is that the last quarter moon is kind of the residual release and ending, let's say, that the full moon would have shook up and illuminated for us. The fact that it's at 27 degrees means that we are closing this particular life lesson, this particular chapter out. And in Aries energy, first of all, Aries energy is a positive because we are tired of looking back. We have no want, need, or desire for that rear view mirror. We just want to move forward. We want to start something new. We are bold and brave and courageous where we might not have been before. And that Aries energy is initiation. And you know what? We got illuminated under that full moon in Capricorn where it is that some of the blockages are. So whether we are going to initiate taking control of that, whether we are going to jump in and start a brand new chapter, leaving said blockages behind, there are a lot of topics and themes coming up with our reinvention of self, rebranding of self, if you will, that this last quarter moon is going to help put into perspective for us, especially seeing as we are about to jump into Leo season. Why is that important? Because it's the heart and soul of the zodiac. It is where we are sitting in our unique individualism and recognizing the skills and talents that we have as unique individuals and where it is that we're needed in the world. It's where our creativity comes back. Our passion comes back. It's where the want, need, and desire for romance comes back. It's where we lighten the vibe, especially from that full moon in Capricorn, and we get a little bit playful again. Again, that childlike energy. It's very much needed. And the sun, of course, likes to shine a bright light and illuminate what it is that we need for our soul's evolution. And right now, we need to get to the heart and soul of what each of us need. We have to listen to our heart and soul. We have to get really raw and vulnerable with our heart space. We have to be proud of the journey that we've all gone through. We have to learn to wear our battle wounds with a sense of pride instead of embarrassment. We all have a story to tell. And this Leo season is going to be a perfect time, especially with Mercury in Leo that rules over communication and expression, going to be a beautiful time for us to do just that. Now, a couple of notable mentions. First of all, Jupiter, the planet of growth and expansion, beliefs and abundance. He is in Aries energy, but is kind of, at this point, not moving. Why? Because he's preparing to go retrograde at the end of the month. We're not going to dive into that retrograde in this forecast. I'll save it for next week. However, he's in Aries energy, preparing to go retrograde, and he is going to be semi-squaring Saturn. So here's the thing. Saturn is retrograde in Aquarius energy. And why I want to bring this up is because a semi-square is a minor tension point. So if we were talking about a full square, that would have been a huge deal. We actually had a series of 3 of them between 2020 and 2021. And this is what I call the accordion effect. So Jupiter pushing us to grow, pushing us outside of our comfort zone, wants us to expand, right? We're pulling the accordion all the way out to its fullest potential. Saturn is about restriction. Saturn wants to hold us back until we've learned the tough love life lessons to its absolute fullest so that we won't continue to make the same mistakes again. So Saturn is kind of like the accordion being squeezed back together. Now, both actions are needed. We have to take one step forward. We have to take a couple of steps back. Why? Because we're in the year of 6 and we're building a very, very important foundation this year that we can't afford to take a misstep. We have to take one step forward. We have to test that step. We have to sit in that step, analyze it right to death, make sure that it is strong enough to hold the weight of our growth, of our expansion, of our beliefs, of the new opportunities, of our new identity before we go ahead and take another step forward. The problem is that Saturn wants to see us take that one step because, of course, we have to grow our soul's evolution or to our fullest potential. But then Saturn wants to pull us back and say, you know what? Maybe you tested that step out. Maybe you should just come back to where we know it's safe. We'll just watch it for a little bit. We'll make sure that, everything is sound before we go ahead and retrace our steps. Again, retrograde, right? So we're retracing, reflecting, especially over the past 12 months and the tough love life lessons that we've all had to experience where social responsibilities are concerned. Many of us have sacrificed our wants, needs, and desires as individual beings in order for the greater, grander good. Now, is that a bad thing? Well, It shouldn't be, except we're living in a time right now through this Great Awakening where everything went to extremes. So here we are. Many of us have lost our individual identity for doing what is best for the community, for the global collective, for the group, for the home, for whatever the case may be. And we've lost our own direction, our own passion, our own talents, our own wants, needs, and desires. So we are going to have to hone this particular energy in. And this is what Leo season is all about, for us to get back to the heart and soul of what it is that makes us, what makes us special, what makes us unique, what we want, what we need, what we desire. Because ultimately speaking, you could do right by everyone else your whole life. And if you are not happy in putting yourself first and doing what you want, need, and desire first, you're not helping anything. The vibration that each of us need to be at is pure happiness, joy, fulfillment in order to even shift the collective consciousness. So it's no good, even if you're happy to be sacrificing your own wants, needs, and desires for the greater, grander good. It's not enough. You are here to be your individual, unique self, and constantly putting your own uniqueness, your own skills and talents, your own wants, needs, and desires on the back burner is not helping you. It's not helping your family. It's not helping your community. It's not helping the collective. It sure as hell is not helping your soul's mission. By coming here, your whole point of being here is that source, right? Our one global creator needed us all to come here and to be so individualized so that we can have every aspect of every experience, every thought, every emotion, every single variable that this Earth School has to offer. So if you're not doing your best to be your best self, then you are failing your soul's mission. And when we return back to source, you're really going to have a review that isn't going to be so happy. So it's time for us to stop doing what is best for the collective first and start doing what is best for us as the individual first, because that's how we change the collective's energy. We change the collective's consciousness. So Jupiter semi-squaring Saturn is going to feel like a push and pull. It's going to feel like we want to start something new, but yet we're being held back by, groups of people, our community, our family, our romantic partnership, whatever the case may be. Maybe it's ourselves, but I would say at this particular point, we've been fully illuminated to where it is that we are our own blocks and challenges. We should have been illuminated to that underneath the full moon in Capricorn. So at this point, we should be putting into perspective, okay, so if it's not me holding myself back, then what is it? Who is it? And this is where we're going to identify what else needs to be cut loose, cut from our particular soul contract, cut from our timeline. The only other thing I wanted to mention is that Ceres, another asteroid, is moving as well, moving into Leo, another fire energy. We are building up fire in the cosmos. This means that we are getting to a point where we are going to initiate something new. We are going to begin a new cycle. Again, we're in the experimental phase that the solstice brought in, and we will continue to be there until the Lionsgate portal. August 8th. That is a very important timeline jump, a very important renewal for soul contracts. We have to experiment, and there's no better way to experiment than with the heart and soul, with the heart chakra, with our emotions, and with our memories. And that's what we get with Cancer season, and that's what we get with Leo season. So the only other thing that I wanted to mention is that we are building towards Uranus conjuncting the true node on the 31st at 18 degrees. The reason why this is super important, first of all, it's a one-off. This doesn't happen very often. Uranus being the great awakener, shaking us up and showing us, I'm going to say, the bigger, greater, grander picture of what it is that we're here to do. The true node, of course, in trying to get us on the right path in order to reach our goals, reach our soul's potential, reach our greatest point of evolution. This particular energy is already building, but will be direct on the 31st. So this is going to be very important for you to pay attention to the people coming into your life. This is like the right place at the right time, the kind of connections that you need to make in order to have your next set of life lessons. This is pushing us out of the comfort zone, out of the box thinking. We are busting out busting free of a lot of the constructs, a lot of the restrictions, a lot of the obstacles and challenges that all the different energy events should have been illuminating us to. This is when we break free. This is going to be a high electricity event, high energy event. Doesn't happen very often at all. This is a one-off. And as we get closer to the 31st, it becomes more and more potent. Now, I would say that this is like a lucky aspect. However, I hesitate to say that because then I'm going to have a whole bunch of people come at me and say, this is the worst time of my life. My relationship is falling apart and I lost my job and my dog died and my car and I got in an accident and my family's sick and, blah, 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 blah. And the reason why that wouldn't be considered lucky is because obviously those are not favorable situations. However, people don't have the awareness or the observation to understand that sometimes those bad situations are needed. Now I'm pausing for dramatic effect because that's not going to sit with a lot of people. People are going to say, well, why is my marriage falling apart a good thing? Well, because obviously you're not supposed to be in it. Well, why is me losing my job a good thing? Well, maybe it was sucking the life out of you and it wasn't really something that you would have left on your own in order to find your passion. Well, why is my family dying a good thing? Well, it's not really a good thing. However, when people die out of this human form, it means that they've completed their life mission, and that's something to celebrate. And it's just those that get left behind that has a problem with the grief, not understanding that they're in a better place because they've completed their mission here. And to be quite honest with you, people need to die. People need to transition to the other side. We need just as many people on the other side helping this transition as we do here. And you know what? It's all a part of life. So yes, sickness, marriage is falling apart, losing your job, losing your house, all of those things are horrible things to go through, but it's in divine design. And eventually you will understand the silver linings and the blessings that come out of even the most darkest hardships. So that's why I'm going to hesitate to say that it's a lucky aspect, but just know that we are going to see some major changes. How you perceive that, good, bad, or otherwise, it's totally up to you. Many times, even the good situations need a little bit of time to be seen in a good light. And like I said, the bad situations definitely need a little bit of time in order for us to pluck out those silver linings. So we got a lot going on. That is a large week. I just spent 20 minutes talking about the week to come. So you best believe that we are going to feel it energetically speaking. So let's jump into the Ascension symptoms. But first, I have to thank you. I want to thank you for being here in this live chat. I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for the likes, the comments, the shares. I want to thank you for donating to the cause. I want to thank you for pushing my channel ratings because, as many of you know, my channel has been taking a hit. I know that the popular topics and themes really, are good validators for people to hear. But every single time I say a key word that's going on the global stage right now, I lose likes, I lose followers, and it's not real. I know that. There's no way that I can lose that many numbers overnight. I don't say anything that freaking offensive. It's all the algorithm. But yes, my channel is definitely taking a hit. So for those of you that share and, pass my channel on to other people and comment and like and do all of those lovely things to help the algorithm keep me out in the open instead of bury me in the sand like they are trying to do, that is all so greatly appreciated. And because those channel ratings go down, the money that I'm making off of the ads on this content has also taken a hit. So for those of you that are sending monetary donations, I want to thank you for that as well. It's definitely helping me bridge the gap and being able to continue to talk about some of these popular topics and themes without taking a hit to my bank account. So thank you so much for that. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time on anything else. Let's jump into the Ascension symptoms. So like we talked about, there's been a lot of exhaustion, like to the point where your eyes are rolling back in your head, can't stay awake, feel like you're drugged, need to pass out, and having a lot of even exhaustion when you're waking up. Like, what was the point of me even going to sleep if I wake up this exhausted? Now, some of us are getting a couple hours during the day where we feel good, we feel great, and then bam, something comes out of the woodwork again, and we are knocked on our ass. I do kind of suspect that the peak of the exhaustion is well over with. I say that with hesitancy because, of course, we're at all different parts of our journey, and the ascension symptoms, when we get large blasts of electromagnetic frequencies coming in from the cosmos, definitely affects us all differently. I do highly blame the full moon in Capricorn, especially with the light codes that we just absorbed before that full moon in Capricorn, for that absolute exhaustion. However, like I said, it is part of the flu-like symptoms that comes along with ascension. So, if your body needs sleep, sleep. Like I said last week, we're in this time of rest. Yes, the to-do list is long. Yes, we crave, change and all this kind of lovely stuff. But I also spoke about how when the universe hits that fast forward button, that we're going to be run ragged and we're going to wish that we could sleep. So, you have to pay attention to your body. That's what this ascension process is all about, is just recognizing that the pain, the aches, the discomfort in your body is a messenger of what your physical body needs. And it's up to us to learn how to speak that language. Now, yes, the flu-like symptoms come and go. They ebb and flow with the Schumann Resonance. That's where we get the data to prove that we're feeling like shit for a reason. So when we have large solar flares or anything popping off the sun, or, all of the planets when they make a move, and let me just say, there are people out there that refuse to connect the dots between planetary shifts and the Schumann Resonance. I don't understand it, because if you take an overlap of every single time a planet shifted out of one energy and into another, there is a significant marker on the Schumann resonance of that electromagnetic frequencies coming in from the cosmos. I personally think that they're all in alignment. We cannot be so foolish to think that the planetary bodies out there having the effect on us in the way that they do, when they're in motion and making a major shift, that we're not going to feel it. So with the week that we have ahead of us, with all, Venus is on the move, Mercury is on the move, Chiron is on the move. We have that last quarter moon, which is always like an intense impulsive type of urgency, let's say, especially in Aries energy at 27 degrees. Whew, look out. And then the sun moving out of Cancer and into Leo, like the sun rules over Leo. It's in its place of power in Leo. So we have to understand and we have to expect that there is going to be major energy fluctuations with this. And with that, I want you to pay attention to your temperature. Your temperature is likely going to be fluctuating from hot to cold. You could even have cold sweats. You could be, feel like you're overheating, but yet have cold feet. I want you to pay attention to what areas of your body are a different temperature. Of course, the majority rules, but if your whole body is hot and you're sweating to death and you have one arm that is full of coldness and goosebumps, we want to pay attention to that. That's where the energy blockages are. We have to understand that temperature fluctuation is showing us where the energy running through our meridian lines in our physical body, where they're getting blocked up, where they're getting, cluster effed, if you will. And that's why we have the aches and pains and the discomfort that we do. But with the temperature shifting, like we're coming out of a water season, Cancer, right? So definitely a little bit on the chillier side, into the sun being in its place of power in Leo. That is boiling. Like we're all hot to trot. We're passionate. We're fired up. Our creativity is flowing. Romance is flowing. Our sexual desires are flowing. We're going from cold water to very, very hot water. And our physical bodies, they're going to experience that fluctuation back and forth, but we're also going to experience irregularities in some of the parts of our body that just isn't flowing as well as it needs to. So another thing that I wanted to bring up, because I noticed a lot of people, especially this week, were commenting about how, some of the symptoms that I mentioned 2-3 weeks ago, now they're just experiencing. And one of the things I think, dental issues came up for a lot of people this week. Again, if you have strong Aries placements, you're going to feel some dental issues over another person's dental issues, depending on where their Aries placements are. There was a lot of people stating that they just started hearing the distortion, the lagging in voices, people right in front of them. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. And there were a couple of people saying that they finally started hearing sounds and music that were not of this world. Now, let me just say this. That's why it's important to go back and listen to previous week's Ascension forecasts, because we're not all on the same journey. We're not all on the same path. All the light codes that we download when there's huge incoming light codes coming into the cosmos, they don't all get activated in our bodies at the same time, because it's up to our consciousness, our awareness, our enlightenment, the work that we're doing, the physical blockages, the emotional trauma that we're all working through at our own individual pace. So yes, there's always going to be some, ascension symptoms from previous weeks that we can carry over into this week. And even still, there might be some very interesting, unique ascension symptoms that, generally the collective was experiencing 3 weeks ago that you may be experiencing this week, because it maybe took you that long to activate those particular light codes through the events in your life, through the understanding, perception, awareness, through the emotional trauma that you had to sort through and process. We're all on a different path. We're all at a different stage. So we do have to be a little bit more consciously aware that just because I don't talk about certain aspects, certain symptoms in this particular forecast doesn't mean that you're a weirdo for experiencing them. Always go back at least a week, maybe even 2, if it's in a unique one that nobody's talking about. And that way you can track where it is that you're at on your own path and your own journey. What we can expect is a lot of heart activations. Now, why do I say this? Well, first of all, Venus, our goddess of love and worth and value and relationships and money and happiness and joy and pleasure, all that good stuff, she's moving into a very emotional, sentimental, nostalgic state of being in Cancer energy. Again, she was in Gemini energy. It was all about the mental plane, curiosity, learning new things, debating different options, path, directions, whatever the case may be. Now she's got to feel it. Now we got to take it down into our heart space. We got to allow our intuition to really kind of guide us on what feels good and what doesn't. That Gemini energy was logical and practical from an egoic state. This Cancer energy is an emotional, intuitive energy that may not make a lot of mental sense, but we know in our heart that it feels right and it feels true. So heart activations can feel like your heart's beating out of your chest, like you can't take a deep breath, like your heart is skipping a beat. Maybe you're heartbroken. Maybe you're experiencing waves of grief. It can come in different forms. And again, the forms really depend on how you respond best to being activated. Some of us are out here just in a zombie state of autopilot that need our heart to be absolutely rocked and broken in order for us to be raw and vulnerable with ourselves. Other people are super hypersensitive that the minute that we're in a conversation and we're just slightly uncomfortable or activated or triggered, we can do the inner healing work that we need to do. Be like, okay, I just got triggered. Now, where did that come from? Where in my upbringing could that have stemmed from? Who does this remind me of? What is this telling me about myself? So in those cases, if you're, in the healing arena and journey where you're hyper aware of your triggers, your activations, and constantly doing that shadow work, well, you're not going to need your heart to be absolutely broken in half and just, drowned in grief in order for you to wake up and be raw and vulnerable to this healing situation. But we are all having physical symptoms of this heart activation, and it could manifest in many different ways. Not all of them is bad. You could be so freaking excited, just anticipating being in love or meeting your soulmate or getting that house or jumping into a job. You could be over elated. That is a heart chakra activation too. That is, reaching a vibration of pure joy and happiness and pleasure. And that's exactly what we're all striving for. But nonetheless, we are feeling the activation in our chest, not just because of Venus, but because of the Leo energy as well. The Leo energy rules over our heart and soul. We are going to be, processing new information and taking it down to that heart space and seeing how we feel about it. And we are going to be rewriting our painful stories that have allowed guards and walls to be put up around our heart space. We're going to revise that and tell it from a different angle, a different perspective to empower us instead of make us feel scared and raw and vulnerable and weak and disempowered. The Leo energy, think of the Leo energy as, are we going to be a scared ass kitten crying and licking itself in a cave? Or are we going to embody the qualities of the lion, the king of the jungle, and roar and let every MFer in the area know who is boss? This is our time to retell our stories from a raw and authentic place of empowerment. So yes, we are going to be sitting in all the feels, and we are going to feel that in our heart chakra, in our chest. Now, that's not to say that we're not going to feel mental pressure. Now, the reason why I want to say mental pressure, again, there's a lot of crown activations. Again, third eye, reaching a new level of seeing things in its truest state instead of this false illusion matrix that we've been, kind of raised in. With Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, moving into Leo, this big, grand, raw, vulnerable, roar lion self, we're thinking big. We're thinking super freaking big. We are articulating ourselves. Again, great for writers, artists, however it is that you need to get the true, raw, vulnerable facts of your existence out into the world. Again, reminding yourself that Leo energy wants us to sit in our individual unique isms and bring that talent, bring that skill to the world. We are also going to have big throat activations as well. So we have a lot of mental pressure. We have a lot of heart chakra activations. We have the throat chakra. Mercury wants to communicate. And think of a lion just roaring and roaring and roaring and roaring, right? That is the throat chakra activation. It's going to trigger a lot of thirst. It's going to trigger a film in our mouth, again, fuzzy teeth maybe. And we're going to have to keep the fluids to us, especially when the fire energy starts building in the cosmos. We have to keep hydrated. You may feel like you're fine. You're not fine. We have elements in our bodies that respond to the elemental energy of the cosmos. We haven't had a whole big buildup of fire in a while. And when we move into fire, we are definitely going to be feeling the thirst, feeling the heat. Speaking of heat, pay attention to the sun. Many people, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, we talked about how the sun isn't the normal sun and how the sun doesn't even feel good anymore. Like it hurts and we're burning and we, our bug bites and all this kind of stuff. Pay attention to that. Keep even more focus on the heat. Again, we talked about the temperature fluctuations. Pay attention to the heat in your body. If you have one part of let's say your right leg, for example, feels like it's on fire, but the rest of you is kind of good. Well, that's important. First of all, we need to know that heat is trying to burn old things off. We also need to know that heat is trying to fire us up to take action, to make a move. And we also know that we store fear in our legs and that the only way that we can take a step forward in life, metaphorically and physically, literally, is using your leg. So this is why I say you have to pay attention to what's going on in your body, because it is a deep, cryptic message on what's going on a subconscious level, what's going on in an energetic level, what is going on in a physical level, of course, but your body is a messenger, and it's up to you to learn the language. And many of us are walking around with, physical ailments that we absolutely hate our bodies for. And that is the wrong way to go about it. You do not want to make enemies with your body. Your body is your best friend. This is the temple that houses your light, that houses your soul, that houses the source energy that you came here in order to individualize into a unique experience. And the worst thing that you can do if you want to continue to live in pain for the rest of your life is make an enemy out of your body. Now, I'm not saying that lightly. I'm saying that from experience. I was in a state of hate with my body. I had to learn how to walk again. Trust me. There's no kind of nice things coming out of your head or out of your mouth when your body is failing you. When you have to learn how to walk again, when you have autoimmune diseases, when you have central nervous system issues, when you have a malfunction in the biochemical body, you tend to hate it. You tend to think that something's wrong with it. It wasn't until I realized that it was not my body's fault, that it was my fault for not understanding what my body was trying to tell me, that it was not my body's fault, that I was making an enemy out of what should be my best friend. It wasn't until all of those aha moments clicked that I started getting well again. And so when I sit here and I I hate to say preach, but maybe I do come off preachy, I don't know. When I preach these things, it's not because, it's so easy, blah, 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 blah. No, it's called a practice for a reason. It's hard. It's like building a muscle up. And I speak the way that I speak from pure experience. I will not ever tell anyone to do anything that I either have not done or would not do. And overcoming my physical body's challenges has been one of my greatest triumphs in my life. And I feel very heavily that it comes down to the relationship that you have with yourself. And you cannot hate yourself. You cannot hate your body. You cannot be talking down to yourself or your body and expect to feel good and expect your body to work at its highest potential. So there is a relationship that you have to build within yourself, within your body. You have to do the due diligence. You have to work in trying to understand the language that your body speaks in order to help heal it. Our bodies are amazing. They have the ability to heal themselves. It's our ego that gets in the way. It's us that gets in the way. When you give your body as much love and attention and focus and support and stability as it's given you throughout your life to get you to where it is that you're currently at, when you provide it with the right nurturing, supportive, encouragement, narrative, and energy and environment and nourishment, and you recognize that it's up to you to provide yourself with the space to heal, that is when your body will take it from there. So this is why I preach so heavily on paying attention to where the pain is, where the dysfunction is, where the uncomfortability is, where the aches are, where the pains are. You have to learn how to speak the language if you want to heal it. So speaking of that, we're going to talk about some cramps. We've been having a lot of muscle cramps, a lot of muscle spasms, a lot of muscle tremors. We are going through a recalibration stage right now. We just got a huge amount of light codes. We are constantly growing. We are constantly improving, which means that every now and then our energetic body gets a little bit bigger than the physical body that actually houses it, and that creates the growing pains. Now, the cramps have also been a huge thing in our bowels, in our bladders, in our digestive system. Now, I have so many people message me about, being nauseous or having constipation or flat out diarrhea or whatever the case may be. And saying, well, when is this going to stop? When is this going to stop? And I'll say to them, okay, well, are you eating sugar? Are you eating dairy? Are you eating meat from your local grocery store? Are you eating processed foods? Usually the answer is yes. And I'm going to tell you, until you clean this crap out of your body, you are going to suffer the consequences for it. So people ask me, well, what do I eat? I eat very little. I eat one meal a day, and it's all of Life Force Energy foods. I snack on Life Force Energy foods. What does that mean? Well, I eat grapes. I eat everything organic. I eat fruits. I eat, spinach. I eat fruits and vegetables primarily. Lots of water, lots of fresh pressed juices, everything with Life Force Energy. Now, one would say, okay, so isn't that a lot of sugar? Again, misconception in the dietary realm of this 3D matrix. Natural sugars are not the same as processed sugars. Your body doesn't know how to break down processed sugars. Your body knows exactly what to do with natural sugars. Take it even one step further. Processed sugar is more addictive than cocaine. Okay, same part of the brain, same kind of reaction. That's why it is like literally the number one killer, the number one contributor to inflammation, the number one contributor to all kinds of neurological issues. Trust me, I've been through it. Okay. And when you take a good look at what it is that you're fueling your body with, that will give you the reason of why you're either A, feeling as crappy as you do, or B, you are seeing the healing that you are, depending on what you're putting into your body. The cramps, even as I eat the way that I eat as healthy as possible, Life Force Energy as possible, I get cramps. Why? Because we like to hold on. What are we holding on to? Well, that depends for you and your own individual journey. I'm a Scorpio. I tend to hold on to grudges. I tend to hold on to memories. I tend not to want to change. Even when I want to change is hard. For those of you who may or may not know, I have a brand new puppy, and that, as beautiful as it is, it's a very trying experience. And I got my puppy because, of course, I lost my girl after 14 and a half years. And as happy as I am to have this puppy, I am still deeply saddened and heartbroken after losing my girl. So I'm having a lot of hip pain, bowel pain. I'm having a lot of root chakra energies, because that is where your pain and suffering, especially from your egoic survival, is stored. And that's where the cramping is coming from. So this is why I say pay attention to where the cramps and the discomfort is coming up for you, because it can explain a lot. So one would say, okay, so you can identify it, then what do you do with it? Well, you have to do the emotional work to release that. Now, you can do body work, such as massage or tapping or acupuncture or whatever the case may be, whatever you're comfortable with. But you also have to do the mental and emotional work to go along with it. And that's probably the hardest part of it all. Anybody can go and slap their body down on a bed and let, somebody do the release, if you will, the cellular memory release that body work does give you. But you also have to do it in your mental plane and your emotional field as well. It's how the process goes. You can't do one without the other. It has to be an integrated force. And what I will say is that to start, you have to focus on, okay, what am I putting in my body? Secondly, okay, what's going on in my body? Where is the trapped trauma? Where is the trapped pain and trauma in my body? What can I do with it? And again, you start with the body, then you go to the emotional field, then you go to the mental field. When all three are in alignment and you all have these like beautiful aha moments, connecting the dots. Okay, I have the physical pain here. Definitely connected to this thought or this memory, connected to this emotion that gets triggered when I think about it. Now you have a full circle. You have a full connect the dot happening here. And it's not until we connect the dots, mind, body, and soul, that we can truly integrate that lesson. And then you will see the discomfort and the uncomfortability in your physical body dissipate, because you've connected the dots. You've brought it into your full awareness, and you have to, like I keep saying, you have to feel it before you can heal it. So we got a lot going on. So guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I just feel like paying attention to what your body is trying to tell you will help you on the path of emotional and mental processing. And that is what the ascension process is all about. We have to remember that the lower vibrations, the lower frequencies are attached to the lower emotional field, such as fear, pain, trauma, betrayal, lies, all of those not so nice thoughts and feelings. That is at the lower vibration and frequency that this 3D matrix earth plane is based off of. That's where they want to keep you. The ascension process is us unpacking all of that, is us releasing all of that and constantly doing the work so that our lowest vibration and frequency is not nearly as low as pain and fear and trauma would be. And as we do this healing journey, we constantly raise our vibration and frequency by doing the pain and trauma and shadow work necessary. We are matching, if you will, the vibration and frequency that Mother Earth, Gaia, is currently going through. This is why we're having the ascension symptoms. Mother Earth is on her own ascension journey. And if we want to go with her, we have to do our part to do the ascension process in our own physical bodies so that she's raising her frequency. We're sticking within the realm of being able to jive with her frequency. And those that are still of the lower vibration of pain and fear and trauma, they ain't coming with us. Don't worry about them. Worry about your own damn self, right? That's what it comes down to. Enough of trying to mask yourself and hide behind a false facade of trying to do what you think others expect or want from you. It's time to get real, time to get raw, time to get vulnerable, and do us as best we can. We are here to be our individual selves. And if nothing else, you will learn through Leo season how special you are, how unique you are, how many talents you have, how many skills you have, and how long you've been sleeping on yourself. It is time to wake up. It is time to roar like a lion. It is time to be seen, be heard, and empower ourselves on our own individual journeys so that we can help the greater, grander collective. I want to thank you so much for being with me here tonight in the chat. I want to thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the support. And thank you for showing up, not only for me, but for yourself. I hope you have a beautiful week, and we'll talk to you soon.